It's your girl Jada J. What's up? What's up? So I'm sorry this might be a couple hours later than the usual late because I started a couple hours late. Had a lot of work going on with school, so I did not take notes for this episode once again. So please grant me some forgiveness if I forget anything because I did actually forget a couple of things last week that I'm probably gonna end up coming up again. So I'm gonna just do a brief overview because I forgot. I forget, it was like a couple things, but I was still like really annoyed and like I was like, oh my god, like how did I forget? So okay, y'all, and I just want to tell you that I heard somebody on my porch and the door cracked open. So we're gonna we're gonna work our way through this, hoping that there's nothing here in my presence that's that should not be here. But I think it was the mailman, and I think it was the wind, y'all. So let's hope with me that that's what it is, because my mom and sister are out right now. Okay, so just, if you hear a strange noise, call my insurance company. Alright, so moving on. This is the haves and the have not. And by the way, y'all, my cold, or whatever it is, allergies. It's allergies, because I never get sick. Like, are you serious? Ended up getting worse this week. I woke up one morning and couldn't taste the freaking thing, and I hate when that happens because that usually happens like later on in my allergies. But it was like the first day, like my nose got clogged. I couldn't taste anything. So imagine eating food with no taste. I hate that because I don't even want to eat nothing. The whole point, you know what I mean? Anyway, just wanted to if I'm sniffling, I'm getting over it. So you're gonna be getting over it too. Moving on. Okay, so this is love you. Okay, so this is the Haves and the Have Not season 6 episode 8, Wicked. Remember last week, David comes by the house to talk to Veronica about Jeffrey being in jail. Melissa shows him upstairs. The door is locked. She picks the lock. Benny and Veronica up there getting it popping. So this week, Benny's acting like he don't notice that David is there. Veronica Ben peeped it. So he was like, oh, snap, trying to act, get out of here, Benny. And so David is standing there kind of looking disgusted. And then Melissa's in the back like, oh, you know what I'm saying? And then so Veronica was like, you want to see some more? And Benny was like, are you kidding me? She was like, no, he walks into my house unannounced without knocking. This is what he gets. So David goes downstairs. And then Melissa was like, oh, Benny, you nasty. I love it. Yo, this Melissa, you know what I mean? She's on my nerve a little bit. But for the most part, I'm like, yeah, girl. So Veronica throws a pillow at her. And she leaves the room. So now Benny's like, oh my gosh, like, I gotta go. This shouldn't have happened. Just his usual spiel. Oh, I this shouldn't have happened. And I shouldn't have never came over here. And she's begging him to stay. Oh, don't go. Come on. I know you want it. And blah, blah, blah. And blah, blah, blah. I was over it. I don't know about y'all, but I was over it. You know what I mean? Can I just tell you? So he getting up to leave, and she was like, I don't know why you're fighting it. I know you like me and just all the other crap. Veronica, you ain't doing nothing but using him to get back at David. And he probably knows that because he was like, and he disrespectful too because he was like, you think I like you? I was like, Benny, for real? You really feeling yourself, aren't you? Little young buck, huh? So he get his clothes on and come on downstairs. Melissa's waiting for him at the stairs. She said, I know I was better and all this. He was like, yeah, whatever. Coming down the stairs. You know what, Benny? I don't appreciate how disrespectful you are. I mean, Veronica, I'll allow it. I'll allow it. But for you to be talking like that to Melissa, for real? I mean, she's obviously out of her mind. But anyway. He gets down the stairs. David was standing there. Which, if you ask me, first of all, Benny would have got punched in his face. Like I told y'all last week, I'm Team David. Especially when it comes to Team Benny and David. I'm definitely Team David. Even though David does get on my nerve. But this is what I'll say. Benny, you definitely overreact. Because he wasn't really in front of the door. Like, you could have easily just opened up the door. So, anyway. He get downstairs. He gonna say, move out my way, old man. He was like, oh, so you at it again? He was like, actually, I was in it. But you should go talk to your wife about that. Which, he should have decked him right there. You feel me? And then so, David was like, I'm talking to you. He was like, well, I'm not talking to you. So why don't you just move out the way, old man? He said, move me. And then he was like, David, what the heck did David say? David was like, oh, you an arrogant little prick, aren't you? And then Benny was like, you trying to get your ass beat? He was like, because I'll beat you like I did the last time. When David was like, move me. And then David was like, you about to get your ass buried. I was like, wait a minute, David. Wait a minute. What you say, David? What you say, David? Oh my gosh, I loved it. Because I don't know. David be getting real ghetto when it comes to Benny because he knows that life. I'm telling you, David knows that life. He knows that life. We need to get more on David because he knows that life. He knows that life. He knows that You know what I'm saying? Because he with a girl from the south side of Chicago. Come on, David. He knows that life. When he said, you about to get your ass says buried. Like, I felt that. Like, oh, snap. You about to get buried. Moving on. So, Benny was like, oh, well, let's see. Trying to act like he was doing all, you know, how hood, you know, doing like this when nothing was going to happen. Nothing, I'm telling you. And so Veronica comes downstairs. She was like, no, there will be no fighting. She was like, you're not about to mess up all my good things, David. And then so Veronica comes up on Benny behind him, got her arms like, you know, in the front of his chest and stuff. He's leaned back. I was over it. It was very baby boy. Taraji P. Henson is Tyrese Gibson, and y'all are not that. Okay, so I was over it. And Benny's trying to act like he's king and just... she's like, yeah, let him go. I'm the one you want. Like, I'm the one you got the beef with, David. Just go ahead and let him go. And then so David moves away from the door, which he wasn't standing that close to any freaking way. And Benny was like, yup. Like, shut the F up, Benny, because you... Sorry, y'all. I'm trying to keep it clean. I'm keeping it clean. I just had to put the shut the... You know what I mean? I had to put that in there because that's how I was feeling right about now. Sorry. So, yeah, Benny leaves out, and David was like, can I have a minute with Veronica, please? And because Melissa up the stairs like, oh, this is about to be good. And David was like, Melissa, can we have a moment alone, please? And she was like, what? No. Like, I was like, okay, girl, don't expect to get bucked with David now. That's the Godfather right there. What is you doing? So then Veronica was like, excuse, and I didn't appreciate how she touched David's chest. She was like, excuse me a second. I'm over her. And with that tablecloth that she's wearing, I hate that dress and I hate her hair. Just, I can't stand Veronica. I can't. Anyway, so then she goes to Melissa and she grabs her down like this and slaps her. And I was like, well, dang, I knew she was going to hit her. But I was actually expecting Melissa to hit her back. She didn't. She was just like, witch, if you ever touch me again. She was like, yeah, blah, blah, blah. Get up the stairs. And Melissa went upstairs. So, but before that, I want to backtrack and say that she was talking mess when Benny was still there. And so Veronica was like, witch, shut up and go upstairs. She was like, witch, shut up and go back to your dungeon. So I was like, okay, Melissa coming with she got the little catchphrases and the one-liners. Come on, come through. So yeah, I just want to put that. So she goes upstairs. Veronica gonna come back over to David talking about some, oh, are you jealous? Did you see that young, strapping young man who finds me desirable and he wants me? Like, kind of trying to say, that was kind of desperate in that moment for me. Because are you trying to say that you felt neglected by David? Because you should have said that when you two could have probably still fixed the marriage, which... So he finds me desirable, and David's just ignoring her. He hands her this file, and she goes again. She's like, "Are you jealous?" Like she's legit making it obvious. I'm trying to make you jealous. So David doesn't even give her the time of day. He hands her this file. She goes, "What's this?" He was like, "All the dirt that I have on you over the years." She said, "Oh, well, I have a file too, honey. So you can't threaten me with this. I have my own stuff. You know, whatever." And he's like, "I'm just trying to get you to get our son out of jail, Veronica." And she's saying, "Well, I know you don't want to offer yourself up because." You can go to jail. She was like, you would never. He was like, for my son, I would. And she was like, David, he wants to be with the boys. She keeps saying that he wants to be with the boys. I'm going to let her be with the boys. And at one point, David was like, he goes, Jeffrey is not a girl. She goes, yes, he is. Any man that likes men is a girl. And, so ignorant. And so David is like, Veronica, Jeffrey's gay. Get over it. You cannot make him change who he is. And she goes, I'm not trying to make him change who he is. I'm trying to make him be who he is. So she's trying to say, he's saying you can't make him straight. She's saying, no, he's straight. He just doesn't know it yet. So I'm not trying to change him. He already, deep down, he knows that he's really attracted to women and not the other thing. You know what I mean? But he's gay, Veronica. And so she's like, I'm not getting him out, David. He gonna stay right where the boys are because that's where he needs to be. And, he's saying, this is your son. And she goes, I don't care. Like, I'm mad that he keeps trying to like, use, she don't care. And she's made that obvious. But anyway, so they get back to the file. And he's like, she goes, you can't use this. Like, I'll just use my stuff. And he's like, for my son, trust me, I will. And she was like, okay, well, just know, like, once we start this game, like, it pretty much can't be finished. So she's saying, well, I'm going to go ahead and prepare my stuff. He was like, well, do what you need to do. She tells David, you do. He was like, I will go to the FBI with this, Veronica. Keep freaking playing with me if you want. And she was like, okay, well, do what you need to do, David. I'm not getting him out. And then so David tries to leave. And he's like, all right, Veronica, if that's what you want, is that what you want? So he's trying to leave. He was like, move out the way or I'll move you. And at one point she references, she was like, you had an affair with Maggie Day. And he ignored it. And she was like, and I know one of you tried, that's what I forgot to talk about last week. When that phone call, when she was on the phone with David, she said, I know one of you tried to run me off the road. It was you, Jim, or Catherine, because she knows Jeffrey's in jail. So Justin is not even, she don't even have Justin in the running. So I can't wait to see what that storyline comes around. But I don't know, because people are thinking that Justin and Erica are probably going to get killed off this season. I don't know. So yeah, she doesn't think it's Justin at all. So this week, again, she was like, I know that was you, David. I know that was you. She was like, and you made a big mistake. Trust me. She was like, you really want me dead that bad? She was like, well, I'm going to live, sweetie. I'm going to live. She was like, and I'm going to bring all heck to that little beige girl that you're seeing now. And when she brought up Maggie Day, he was like, you took care of her, didn't you? And that's when she goes, yeah, and I'm going to get that little beige girl that you're seeing. And I'll allow it because I don't like Erica. And David was like, if you lay one hand on her, she was like, I'm not going to come anywhere near her. And just, she's just playing all these games, mind games with him. And he's like, move out. I'm going to say one more time. Move out the way or I'll move you. She said, please do. And I'll call the police. And I'll act like you beat me. Oh my God. And she roughs up her hair. Like, remember Candace did that in season 1 with 2. David keep getting stuck with these crazy ones. Because Candace did the same thing season 1. She messed up her hair and then so he actually, and he didn't really move her. He just like kind of grabbed her and was like, and then opened up the door. And she was like, oh my God, the great David Harrington, a woman abuser. The great David Harrington, a woman abuser. And then Melissa comes back down the stairs. She goes, you are wicked. She goes, you better know it. She said, I can smell it. I said, okay, I don't know what that was a reference to, but I'm over it. And then she's like, I'm starting to get tired of you. She said, I'm starting to get tired of you too. And she said, just make sure you're ready tomorrow because we're going to the doctor. She said, for what? She said, to find out why you're not showing. She said, I'm not going anywhere with you. She said, I bet you will. I bet you will. She said, and if I find out that you're not pregnant, she said, trust me, you won't have to worry about anything anymore. She goes, are you threatening me? With the smile. Veronica's like, yes, I am. And then Melissa was like, you better lock your door. She said, actually, I'll leave it open. Why don't you come on in? Come on in. And then we see Melissa go and says, and Veronica's up the stairs at this point, so she doesn't hear her. Melissa goes, I'll show you how crazy I am. So I'm interested to see that. I am interested to see that. I'm interested to see that. I'm interested to see that. But anyway. Okay. So let's switch on over to the DA's office. Just minor detail. The assistant DA, Sarah Duffy, is on the phone with her old decrepit husband. That Jim, we ain't seen him yet, but remember Jim said he's old enough to be your grandfather. Now Jim old enough to be somebody's grandfather. So if he said it, I'm taking it. He's old and decrepit. I'm over it. So she's like, oh honey, yeah, okay, yeah, I love you, bye. Because George comes in, and he's like, we got it. She's like, got what? And he goes, ballistics. The bullets, they were a match. She was like, what? He was like, the criers, we got them. She was like, wait a minute, are we making an arrest? He was like, we're close. We're about to. He was like, come on, we're gonna go see Wyatt Cryer. And she was like, well, wait a minute. What is this? This must be solid because you said you didn't want to go to the grand jury unless you had something solid. He said, oh, this is solid. And she was like, come on. Are you going to tell me what it is? He was like, come on. I'll tell you on the way. Let's go. And she was like, oh, my gosh. I used to like, what is it? He was like, my young assistant DA. He was like, yeah, come on. He was like, just be patient. You'll find out soon. They're trying to talk to her like he's this freaking wise. I was over him. So, she's scared because Jim and her made a deal. Which, if you don't want them to find out that you lied on the federal application and find out about the escorting and all that other stuff you used to do, you get me all the evidence. She thought she had all the evidence, and then he got this. So she looking like, oh, what is it? Like, kind of, but he's not telling her yet. So she grabs her bag and scurries up out of there with her knock knees, and she's scared. Okay, but no shade on the knock knees, because I don't have really a problem with her. So I'm just pointing it out. She could probably be a model, actually. Anyway. So, let's see. Who do we want to switch to? Okay, I'm going to switch to Joanne and Hannah. So, Hannah's over there to kind of shadow Joanne at Catherine's house, the new housekeeper, just to see, okay, just so you know this, that, and the third. So, they're up in the room, and she's like, oh, just so you know, she likes everything color coordinated. And by the way, how she was folding stuff, I was like, okay, nah, y'all needed to rehearse that, because I didn't like how the shirts were folded. Just my thing, whatever. So, she's like, just so you know, she likes everything color coordinated, and she likes the whites on this side of the dresser, stuff like that. So she's talking to Joanne, And at first, I'm like, Hannah, what is your problem? Because I'm like, okay, it's a sister talking to a sister. So she like, girl, yeah, this white family I work with, girl, they be saying, we got all the drama. Come on now. She said the daughter was pregnant. She said by a black man. So she was like, so they was vetting all, like, got rid of all the servants and stuff that was black. And, you know, they didn't want them there anymore. She was like, and that baby is an ugly little thing. I said, oh, snap. She's doing the most. So, and Hannah's just at the whole time she's talking, she's like, really? Oh, wow, for real? Yeah, okay. She was like, and she starts talking about Catherine. She goes, Catherine kind of stuck up, ain't she? And Hannah was like, keep talking. I said, is she about to slap? How she said it, I was like, are you saying keep talking? Like, which, if you trying to get smacked, keep talking? But no, the girl was like, okay, girl, let me tell you. She was like, I want to ask her for the day off tomorrow, but I'm pretty sure she probably going to be upset about that. And she was like, well, how long have you been working here? She said, girl, a whole week. Trying to act like that was a lot. Now, I'm with her by default because she a sister. But girl, a week is not a long time. And you already starting to ask for days off that you don't already have off. You're doing a lot. Unless you guys established that at the time of hire that you need this. Which obviously you didn't because you're saying you need to ask her for that day off. So, just, I'm thinking professionally. But I get what the sister was saying. And so she's saying Catherine is kind of stuck up, and she was like, she's kind of hard. She's yelled at me several times, and I haven't even been here that long, and so Hannah's like, oh, really? And then so she goes in this one drawer, and she's like, oh, look at all this jewelry. And Hannah was like, yeah, she was like, girl, I could put all my kids through school with a pair of these earrings. And she was like, oh, but you won't. She said, but I could. She was like, but you won't. And closes the drawer. She was like, yeah, girl, you know, I'm just playing. She was like, okay. She was like, you know what, can you stay here for 1 minute? And she goes and she's like, yeah, girl, okay. And goes downstairs. She comes back for her purse because we see this lady is thieving a little bit, you know. And she was like, oh, okay. Like, notice Hannah came back for her purse. Like, I don't trust you. Comes downstairs in the kitchen. Talking to Catherine, she said, Catherine, I'm gonna need to, because she's like, oh, thanks for coming in, Hannah, and all this. She was like, yeah, you know, I'm sorry to tell you this. I know you probably went through a lot to hire her, but you gonna need to fire her, okay? And she was like, what? She's like, yeah, girl, that woman up there is in everybody's business. She was like, what? I mean, I know I did pick her kind of fast, but she definitely seemed like the best candidate. She was like, girl, the best candidate to steal your stuff. I said, no, Hannah, that was kind of messy. She said, girl, the best candidate to steal your stuff, okay? So Catherine was like, really? She was like, yeah, girl, I'm serious. Next thing you know, she was like, well, thanks, Hannah, you know. Next thing you know, the girl freaking comes downstairs. Joanne comes downstairs. She was like, I know you ain't come down here to snitch on me. I was done, dude. I was so done. I was like, did you really come downstairs? I understood her, though. Because, Hannah, you came downstairs to snitch on her. You did. But, I can't really be mad at it because I was even looking at Joanna kind of way when she grabbed them earrings. I was like, girl, what is you doing? Like, it was a lot. So, she was like, I know you ain't come down here to snitch on me. And Catherine was like, hey, you know, just, you know, calm down and all that. You need to get up. But she was like, and you supposed to be a fellow sister. No, because Hannah was like, excuse me? She was like, and you call yourself, you supposed to be a fellow sister? She was like, well, first of all, I'm not your sister. I'm an honest person. Didn't really appreciate that because you are her sister by default. Okay, you know, she ain't really done no cooning out that we know of. She's just kind of a thief and she's nosy. So we don't appreciate that. But she was like, I'm an honest person. So what you trying to say? She's not? Well, she wasn't. But she was like, now how am I supposed to feed my kids without this? And Catherine was like, hey, I don't know how you're gonna feed your kids, but it won't be on my dime. Get the heck out of my house. And Joanne was like, who the heck do you think you talking to? She said, who in the heck do you think you talking to? I said, okay, Catherine got real stark with it though. She said, and who in the heck do you think you're talking? Like, it was like, oh snap, wait a minute, Joanne, you crazy. But she's out of her mind. So, Joanne was like, okay, all right. She was like, obviously nobody. She was like, exactly. So then she said, all right. She was like, you know what? And I'm coming back in 2 weeks and you better have my check or I'm going to come back and burn this whole house down. She said, okay. And then left out the house. And Hannah was like, just show your ASS. Just show your whole ASS. And I said, for real, Hannah, you going to put some salt in the wound? You going to put some salt in the wound? So she was like, girl, I can't even believe that. She was like, yeah, me neither. It was wild. Joanne. We was hoping you was going to stick around for a while, sis, because she is funny. But it looks like she out. But maybe she is coming back in a couple weeks for that check. Do you understand? So now we're going to switch over to Wyatt. So remember the DA said him and the assistant DA are coming over to see Wyatt. So they come over to see him and they're like, so we need to talk to you. He's like, okay, what's up? George goes, well, we found some bullets that what we no first he tells him, I think that your family may have some ties to the killing of Jennifer Salison. And Wyatt goes, hold on y'all, I'm about to sneeze. I'm sorry. So Wyatt goes, really? And George is like, yeah, we have ballistics and stuff like this. And so he was like, what I need you to do is I need you to think, have you ever seen your parents with a gun, any kind of gun? And he was like, specifically a 45, I think he said a 45 caliber. Correct me if I'm wrong on that, you guys. And Wyatt goes, no. He's like, I'm sorry, I haven't. He was like, Wyatt, I need you to think very carefully. Did you see any of your parents at any point with a gun? So Wyatt's still not getting it. He goes, no. And he goes, well, how did your sister get that gun? He's like, I don't know. And he's like, Wyatt, are you sure? And think about this very carefully, that you've never seen your parents with a gun. And he goes, you know what? Actually, I think I have. And he goes, really? Okay. He was like, and was it a 45 caliber? He's like, yeah. And which one of your parents did you see them have the gun? Both. He's like, okay, well, that's good news. You know, we're going to get this show on the road. Thanks so much. He was like, thank you. He's like, and can we get this testifying thing kind of out the way? Because my father came by. George was like, is he threatening you? He was like, in so many words, yeah. And he was like, well, I can get a restraining order placed on both of them if you want. And Wyatt got all excited. Oh, for real? You can do that? And he's like, yeah. He's like, thanks, man. Thanks a lot. So they leave. So they at the elevator, and George is like, we got him. Like, this about to be, we got him. And so Sarah, he was like, what's wrong with you? Sarah was like, I can't believe we're doing this. She was like, you said you wanted a solid case. This is not solid. He goes, what are you talking about? She goes, coercion? She was like, I do not like this at all. He was like, well, so what? You know, this is the job. He was like, as a young DA, he was like, they put you with me for a freaking reason. You're supposed to learn the ropes and keep your mouth shut. Eyes open, ears open, mouth shut. And she was like, okay, whatever. So, I don't know. This seems like maybe something that he does. And he's like, well, this is kind of what we do. And he was like, you should want them just as bad as I do. They killed one of us. That cop bullet. You know what I'm saying? She was a DA more specifically, but you know how cops do. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And I've actually spoken to a cop. Matter of fact, I might tell y'all the story. I don't want to make this too long, though, because my camera has a tendency of cutting off. But, yeah, I got a story for y'all if I remember at the end, which I probably won't. But I'm going to get it to y'all. But, so he was like, yeah, just keep your mouth shut. So they jump on the elevator and they leave. Now let's switch over to Jim. Now remember, Oscar is supposed to be getting this account information. So he got it because remember, that's what I forgot to mention also last week. Wyatt gave his phone to that coon black officer that Oscar is working with to get Wyatt's information. So I don't even know if I don't even think Wyatt had got his phone back. Because he just gave it up to that officer who's working for Oscar. So anyway, yeah, so this week Oscar comes in with, and Jim is like, what is, he just hands him some paper. He goes, what is this? He's like, the account information. He goes, well, how did you get this? He was like, just don't worry about it. I got it, okay? He was like, you have passwords? He was like, not yet, but once I got trackers on his phone, so it's just a matter of time. Once he types them in, I'll capture them. Good to go. We got it. He's like, okay, thanks. And Jim's got like a wad of money in his hand. So Oscar's like, oh, it looks like you're expecting somebody. He was like, yes, I am, and you're interrupting. So then the girl, Gia, comes to the door, and I think she goes, she said something, Mr. Jones here. And he was like, bye, Mr. Jones. And then he goes, bye, Mr. Smith. Because whatever. But Gia ends up coming in. And she's got a wig on. Didn't appreciate the wig, y'all. Did not appreciate the wig. I like the curly hair that she had better. It looked more natural, even though it wasn't. It was just more, you know what I mean? This looked real wiggy to me. Just, whatever. So she comes in with a tight dress that's having too much cleavage and showing too much leg. Okay? And it's too tight. Can I just add that? So, she comes on and he gonna say, oh, hey, how you doing? You know. And, they doing small talk. She kind of showing herself a little bit. I was like, girl, you know, we see she got a little bit of an attitude. So he was like, oh, he goes, can I get you a drink? She goes, no, thank you. He was like, what you think, I'm going to put something in your drink? She was like, well, you know, I was like, oh, girl, you got an attitude. Appreciate that. Because you got to have an attitude with Jim. He was like, you must be new in this business. She's like, what are you talking about? He was like, you know, trying to act like you're in a different profession when you're actually in another one. She was like, all I know is that I met, you know, a nice guy at the bar, and he invited me to his room. And he was like, right, let's go with that. She was like, let's. And so she goes, and let's go with the idea that you're going to leave me $5,000 on the nightstand. You know, that'll be fine too. And he was like, oh, and what if I leave $1,000 on the nightstand? That'll be it. She was like, well, then you'll only get $1,000 service. And he was like, well, that $1,000 service better be good. She was like, yeah. And undoes her freaking dress. So we see a black bra or whatever it is. And she was like, you'll be paying me $5,000 in no time. And then he was like, you might be right. Now, here's what I'm confused about, y'all. Now, I thought that escorts, like, there was some rule that you're not supposed to kiss on the lip. Like, isn't that a thing? Like, you just don't kiss on the lips because that's, like, that's supposed to be actually, like, real intimacy or something. I don't know. I thought that was a thing. Okay, not that I know about it at all, y'all. I just watch a lot of TV. And I heard that somewhere. That escorts don't kiss on the lips. But they went over there and they was making out and all of it. And then, y'all know what happened next, I guess. I was over it. Okay, so now we're going to jump on over to Veronica again. So Veronica ends up calling Candace. I guess returning her call because she picks up the phone. She like, oh hi. Candace is like, I've been calling you. Like, what's been the problem? She was like, well, I haven't been able to get to the phone. She didn't tell Candace about the accident. That struck me. I don't know. But so she was like, yeah. She was like, why is Jeffrey in jail? She was like, for your crime. She goes, I didn't do anything. She was like, Candace, the phone is not bugged, honey. You could talk freely. She was like, he's not going to make it in there. She was like, I don't care. He likes boys. He better be where the boys are. And then Candace was like, are you kidding me? She was like, please don't tell me you're going to try and educate me about the LGBTQ TRSTU. I was like, dang, Veronica. And she goes, however many letters they've added to it, which I'm not going to say nothing about it. Okay, I'm done. So they get back on the line. And, well, they've been on the line. I just had to go pause right there because that's just... So, and she's being ignorant. And Candace is like, oh my gosh, you are so freaking ignorant. She was like, people have fought and died for the rights of gays, Veronica. Get over it. Come on. She was like, why do you have a... So she was like, you're punishing him. Like, why do you have a problem with people that are gay? She was like, I don't have a problem with people that are gay. I have a problem with my son being gay. She was like, in my day, closets were king for a queen. I said, which? I said, what, Veronica? What did you say? Oh my gosh, I can't with Veronica. I can't. She was like, you are so dang ignorant. I don't even want to talk to you right now. I'm going to hang up the phone. She was like, well, you have to talk to me because of the plan with David. She was like, how's that going? She was like, well, I wanted to ask you the same thing. What do you want me to do? She was like, I want you to take him for everything he's got. And she was like, well, I'm in the process of it now. And she was like, you're going to need account numbers and everything. Like, he's going to have all that stuff hidden. She was like, yeah, I have her looking now. She was like, no, tell her not to. David is very smart. He'll know if anything's been touched, and he'll know if anything's out of place. And she was like, in fact, he'll leave things open around the house sometimes just to see if she'll go through it. And she was like, what? He's that paranoid? She was like, he's been married to me for 25 years. I taught him well. And then she goes, he'll even go and freaking get a black light and go and look for fingerprints. And Candace was like, dang, okay, I'll call her off. And then Veronica goes, I'm impressed with you, Candy girl. And then she was like, which please? And hung up the phone. So, Candace calls Erica and tells her, girl, she was like, you ain't touched nothing yet, have you? She was like, no, because as I told you, there's nothing here. She was like, good, I'm gonna need you to hold off on that 100K. She was like, good, Candace, thank you. She was like, I don't think you should touch anything. He'll probably know if it's been out of place. She was like, yeah, I thought so. She was like, shut up. I don't tell you to think. She was like, okay, I'm sorry. Erica, please stop. I can't. So then she was like, just make sure that you don't touch anything and take your time with it. She said, but don't take too much freaking time. So she was like, you gotta wait longer or else he's gonna be real suspicious of you. She was like, so just play this off right and everything will be cool. They hang up the phone. Okay. So, and I just want to say that, Erica, now, I don't know at this point, would she flip on Candace just thinking maybe she can win David's compassion? Like, because she could say that Candace kind of coerced her by saying, you know, I'll get you killed and stuff, and be like, you know, that's what she did to War. So, I don't know. I don't think David is that stupid that he would do that. That he would really be like, I don't know. I feel like once he finds out that in any way, shape, or form she was in cahoots with Candace, he would be over her. No matter, and he is acting kind of starstruck by her. I'm over it. But, you know, I don't know. So, I don't know. I'm confused by that. We'll see. That's what I'll say about that. So, alright, let's switch over to the police station. Justin coming in with a couple coffees for that coon officer and himself. Okay. So, he over there talking to the officer who I don't know what his name is, and I don't know if it was said, and I'm over it anyway. He come and talk to him. He like, oh, thanks, man, for the coffee, whatever. He's like, yeah, I heard you on the Harrington case. He was like, you talking about the son? He was like, no, the mother. And he was like, oh, yeah. He was like, well, what happened with that? He goes, oh, she was in a car wreck. And he was like, oh, snap, for real? He was like, yeah, she said it was a black truck, but she don't know anything about it. And he was like, so she doesn't know anything. And he goes, nah. And then he was like, well, she okay? He's like, yeah, she's fine. He was like, so she's okay. And he goes, yeah. And then Justin was like, well, I hope you guys find out who did it. He was like, well, good luck with that, and walks away. Okay, because we know his plan was to kill her, and she's not dead. So that's cool that he knows about that now, because now that'll probably speed up that storyline. So he goes in the back to try and go get Jeffrey out of his cell. So he immediately comes in Harrington. So Jeffrey just sitting there like, whatever. He goes, Harrington. Opens up the thing. He was like, I know you hear me, Harrington. On your feet, Harrington. He's like, I'm not going nowhere with you. He's like, you trying to make this difficult? He was like, yeah, I do. I do want to make it difficult. On your feet, Harrington. And Jeffrey's just ignoring him at this point. On your feet, Harrington. And the coon officer comes in the back. He's like, oh, you having a problem with this one? And Justin goes, no. So once again, it's that idea that you could treat him kind of poorly, but if somebody else do it, you got a problem. So okay, I guess here's what we see now. Like, to him, it's like, I don't know, like him, like how like a couple would have an argument or something. He thinks it's that with him and Jeffrey. He thinks it's that because otherwise, I feel like he would have been like, yeah, go ahead and get him out of there, get him up out of there. But he didn't want him hurt or nothing like that, I guess. So he was like, nah, man, I got it. He was like, no, Justin, you got to show these guys who's boss. He was like, hey, he said get up, right? So get your ass up. And Jeffrey's just ignoring him. Justin was like, no, it's good, trust me. It's fine. And he was like, nah, man, it's not. He was like, where is he going to anyway? And Justin is like, because we know he's probably taking him into in the back room. We know where you was trying to get and where you was trying to take him, Justin. So he's like, he's going, and then the cop was like, what, the DA wants to see him? And so this was kind of weird, I don't get it, but he got a text on his phone. And he was like, nah, actually, I just got the text message that the DA is going to be late. But I was like, were you taking him to see the DA? Or was you trying to go in the back? I'm pretty sure he was taking him to the back. Otherwise, why, when he asked you where you taking him, why was you, but I don't know. But I guess the DA did actually want to see him. Maybe he was going to try and get his time in before the DA got there. But he's like, the DA is going to be late. So Jeffrey's able to, and then the black cop turns to, Jeffrey. And he's like, okay. He was like, you lucky this time, son. He was like, I tell you what, though. When I come back around this way, your ASS better not be sitting there. And he walks off. Justin locks up the gate and leaves out. Or the freaking cell and leaves out. Okay. So then we meet Justin's wife. Like, we officially meet her. Her name is Kendra. So Kendra shows up at the station. And the one dude comes up to him, fellow freaking fake ASS Brotherhood cop, comes up to him, for the, you know what, nah, I'm gonna let that statement stand on its own, because that's how I'm feeling right now, but just apologize for any offense. So, he gonna come up and say, Justin, your wife, and he was like, what about her? He was like, she's here. And so she comes up to him, can we talk someplace? So he takes her in one of the interrogation rooms, hopefully not the one he usually takes Jeffrey in, because that's just nasty. So, he takes her in there. She was like, why didn't you tell me you was with that man? He was like, and then she was like, you just what? And he was like, I wasn't. She was like, Justin. I was like, really, Justin? But she was like, Justin, I saw it. Like, with my own eyes. It was on the freaking videotape. And he was like, I'm sorry, Kendra. He was like, but please don't. Like, because he doesn't want her to keep probing. But obviously she freaking is, because my husband is sleeping with a man. Like, what the heck? And you're cheating. Like, are you serious? So she was like, why didn't you just tell me that you were gay? He was like, I'm not gay. She was like, well, whatever you want to call it, you should have told me that you were with that man. And he was like, Kendra. He was like, I don't know what to say to you, Kendra. I don't want to talk about this here. This is not the place. She was like, no, this is the place, because I've been blowing up your phone, and you've been ignoring my phone calls. Which, now that's some new stuff. You're the one who cheated, yet you're ignoring my phone calls. Really? I'm reaching out to you? Like, that's what we do? So, she was like, now you at least owe me that. She was like, do you love him? And he was like, honey. And she was like, don't you honey me. Do you love him? He was like, I can't talk to you about that. She was like, no, you mean you won't. He's like, Kendra, it's been forever since the last time we were intimate. Oh, I guess even gay guys use that line because that line is so done and tired from the guys. Listen, I ain't never been in a relationship, but I've witnessed relationships before my very eyes where the guy, most of the time, there might be some ladies out there doing that too, but for the guys, especially, not even gonna say it, but guys, y'all be coming with that, oh, well, we haven't done this and that and that. Are you saying that's why you cheated? Are you serious? So I guess it's no exception for gay men. Because even though he won't say he gay. So he goes, we haven't been intimate in forever. And she was like, that's because, she was like, and that would be your, he was like, no, she goes, because you haven't tried anything. And he goes, yes, I have. She was like, no, you haven't. In the last year, she was like, I tried to do stuff and you would just turn away, like I'm not in the mood or whatever. Which, I'm glad he was doing that because y'all don't need to be doing nothing. Nobody needs to be doing anything, but that's another conversation. At least they was married, technically. So, and he was like, I'm sorry, Kendra. Like, that's all I know what to say. I'm sorry. And, she's like, so you're not gonna talk to me about this. And she was like, don't you dare try to blame this on me. This is all you. This is all you, and it is. And so he goes, I gotta get back to work, Kendra. And she was like, Justin, he was like, I gotta get back to work. So she ends up leaving. See, this scene, I think, was kind of trying to tug at the viewers' hearts because right now, we're in a position where Justin is psychotic and he needs help and all this other stuff. But this, I think, was kind of trying to pull at the heartstrings. Like, he's really, because, she goes, I'm not gay. And she's like, well, whatever you want to call it. No, she goes, well, what do you call it? And he's like, I don't know, Kendra. I don't know. Like, and it was kind of like, dang, I kind of feel bad for you, but you still doing too much when it comes to Jeffrey, and you cheated on her. Regardless of the last time it was that y'all intimate, you cheated, and then it was with a man. And you're trying to sit in here in front of me and tell me that you're not gay? Really? But, so, I don't know. I think this was trying to pull at the heartstrings a little bit. But I don't know, because from what we see, he's still going to be trying to be a dirtbag to Jeffrey. As usual. I don't even remember what I was talking about. Dang it, what was it? Oh, yeah, I think I was moving on from Justin. Yeah, that's kind of crazy to me. I hope that's where I was at, y'all. I don't even remember. Okay, so I'm going to move it along and I'm going to backtrack a little bit and actually go back to Candace. Now, Candace, I forgot to mention, when she got off the phone with Veronica, actually had a conversation with Rocky. Remember, the one who's in cahoots with Broderick, who's trying to take Catherine for all she got? Well, I guess Candace and him know each other. So she's like, hey, he like, where you been at? She's like, you know, here and there. She was like, and you didn't hear about the incident? He was like, what incident? She was like, you didn't hear? He goes, no. She was like, well, anyway, how is Gia doing? Because we actually see Gia is in there with a prospect. And they're flirting it up and drinking and all that. He was like, well, how's she doing? He was like, well, she's smart. She's playing it cool, too. She's good. She should be a good one. She was like, is she paying the house? He goes, yeah. She goes, well, tell her to come see me. And he goes, I think she's with a prospect right now. And he was like, well, she goes, just make sure she comes and sees me after she's done with him. And he goes, will do. Are you okay? She's like, yeah, I'm fine. And then, okay, so I actually want to go back a little bit more and say that when she was on the phone with Erica, she told Erica to get like an app and have like anything she needs, like anything where she's got to talk to Candace or anything on an app, so that if he does decide to go through her phone, he's not going to think, oh, let me click through all these apps to see if she's hiding things. But she said leave everything else exposed so that he doesn't think anything's weird. But anything that's supposed to be top secret or anything, like set up a little app and just have it in there so he's not going to. And I was like, oh, snap, okay, Candace, but I'm over you because you're playing David. So she goes, all right, I got it. They hang up the phone. So, all right, let's go over to Catherine. Now, the DA has already, and no, I'm not going to talk about it. The DA has already talked to Wyatt. So now they're coming to see Catherine. And, but before that, Hannah and her are upstairs having a conversation. Pretty much, I'm not going to really go through the whole scene, but she tells Hannah, please come back to work for me for double the salary. Thank you for letting me know about Joanne. And, Hannah says, I can't, there's too much history and stuff. A lot of things have happened, talking about Wyatt running over Benny pretty much. And she's like, yeah, but it makes me feel even worse that, I can't do anything to fix it. Just please come back work for me. Double the salary. Hey, Hannah, you ain't got no job. Come on. But, so she goes, I don't want to do this anymore, Catherine. She's like, this is the honest living. And she goes, I want to go back to school for nursing or something. She's like, I don't know, something, but I don't want to do this no more. She was like, I've done this for years and I want to change. She was like, okay, then go to school and work for me for double the salary. She was like, girl, I'm going to be dog tired. She said, you can do it. She said, I don't know. She's like, well, at least it's not an I can't this time. She goes, listen, I'll think about it. She's like, all right, I'll take it. So then now they're going downstairs. She's about to leave. And they see this car pull up. Hannah's like, do you want me to stay? She was like, no, you need to get ready for your date with Derek Davis. She's like, girl, that ain't till tomorrow. She's like, and there's no time like the present. Go get ready. So she leaves and George and Sarah come up. They come on in the house and they sit down. So she's like, so what's this? Is this bad news regarding Jim? She was like, no, actually it's bad news regarding you. She said, how so? Camera cut off, so here we are again. Okay, yes, so he says, your son Wyatt Cryer. She was like, yes, is he okay? He goes, oh, yeah, he's fine. Like, laughing at the fact that she's actually concerned about him. Wouldn't have appreciated that if I was Catherine. But anyway, she goes, George, please choose your words carefully. You know my son has a substance abuse issue. He goes, yes, we do. But, your son is testifying against you. She said, are we still on this? He was like, yeah. She goes, well, I thought Jennifer Salison dropped it. He goes, no, she didn't. She just died. Murdered, actually. And she was like, oh, yes, well, I'm sorry. It's the smiles. I was like, girl. He goes, but you do know Jennifer Salison was actually investigating your daughter's death. She was like, well, why? Well, she didn't believe it was a suicide. She thought it was a murder. What? How can that be? The blood splatter wasn't exact and this, that, and the third. And, so then he goes, actually, I wanted to speak to you about a .45 caliber. That's actually, no, he was like, as a matter of fact, do you know that Jennifer Salison was shot with a .45 caliber? She goes, no, I didn't know that. He was like, well, that's funny because a .45 caliber is actually registered to your house. She goes, really? Well, I wouldn't know anything about that. You would have to talk to Jim. He goes, well, we will. And looks at Sarah smiling like they've got the upper hand. I was over it. So, they're going on and on. He's like, yeah, I will talk to him about that. But you do know that I know it was it was you. It was you or it was Jim. It was somebody in your vicinity that killed her. And he was like, but you know something else? The bullets that shot Jennifer Salison, they were a complete match with the ballistics and everything of your daughter, Amanda Cryer. And she goes, well, how can that be? He's like, I don't know, Mrs. Cryer. You tell me. And she's like, you know what? I think you need to get out of my house. And actually, she was like, well, you're not looking at me as a suspect. Like, for real? And at one point, he even tries to be like a dirtbag. And, I just want to apologize for, the loss of your daughter, Amanda. Her suicide or whatever. And she goes, yeah, thank you. And then, and at one point, he says something. I don't know, you guys. And she was like, well, you're not looking at me as a suspect. And he's like, no, we're not. She was like, well, do I need to get an attorney? He was like, if you like. And so then at the end of it, when she was like, okay, I think you need to get out. Once he says, that the bullets that killed Jennifer Salison and the bullets that killed Amanda, it was a match. Like, we got ballistics on it and everything. And she goes, well, how can that be? He goes, you tell me. She goes, I think it's time for you to leave. And then, you know what? As a matter of fact, if you ever need to speak to me, you need to go through my attorney. And he goes, well, which one? She said, I'll send you a list and you can choose. I said, come on, witch. I loved it. Loved it, loved it, loved it. Would have been more power from a sister, but we'll take it from Catherine Cryer. So she was like, you know where the door is. He's like, yes, thank you for your time. And they leave. Okay, so we'll see about this. Is going to get interesting, y'all. Catherine, did you kill Amanda? What the heck, Catherine? Are you kidding me? She was distraught, everybody. I'm done if it was her. But anyway, I'm going to finish this up real quick because my camera about to cut off again. I know it. So the last scene that I remember, okay, is with David is at, Hannah's driving back up to her place that Catherine has purchased or rented out. And David is there. She going to say, what you doing here? He was like, I know that your son buried the body of Quincy Maxwell. And if he doesn't turn himself in, he'll be prosecuted for murder. Oh yes, he'll be prosecuted for murder. Okay, for murder. And then it cut off. And next week on the Haves and Have-Nots, which looks like it's going to be another epic episode, y'all. So also one and only your girl, J to J. This was a very good episode. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. If the camera cuts off at my last piece, I'm not going to redo it. But much love to you guys. Thank you for commenting. Thank you for liking. Thank you for being y'all. Okay. Wait a minute. Am I missing anything? Probably. Let me know. It's the one and only your girl, J to J. Peace.